Hi there. Today I'm here to talk about censorship of the imagination and what I believe it means to be a critical and independent thinker. So I recorded this last night actually, but as I was watching it back, I was listening to it and I was like, it sounds like the way I'm wording it is sounding like I'm trying to defend something that I'm not trying to defend. So here I am again, going to explain this again. So, this came up in my head as I was doing my little walking at night on the treadmill, listening to the Freedom Forum, I think that's what it's called, an interview with Bell Hooks. Okay, and I didn't know who Bell Hooks was before watching this video. And now I do, and I agree with a lot of what she was saying in the interview, which was everything should be challenged. Everything should be challenged, but not in a way that's like, okay, you're just trying to be contradictory to everything. No. That's where being an independent and critical thinker comes in. But let me start with this example because that's what really like clicked in my head. She was talking about how she is a professor at a university, and at the university where she teaches, there's a gun exhibit. And she said that a lot of people assumed Bell Hooks is a feminist. Bell Hooks is going to see this gun exhibit and think, oh, this is horrible. But then Bell Hooks in the interview stated, I actually quite like guns, so I didn't think the gun exhibit was horrible. But I do understand that a lot of people and their families have been harmed and hurt with guns, so this would be horrible to them, the gun exhibit. And it would be triggering and things of the sort, you know? And so that made me think, and I was like, I was thinking about how a lot of the times in today's society, which is my favorite phrase in today's society, everything is, I think maybe not even in real life, but in the media especially, and on social media, which then, everyone absorbs things from social media because social media is like the second world we live in. But everything is seen as more black and white, you know? And it's either you're in here or you're in here. But I really don't think anything is black and white. I don't think anything is black and white. Every single thing can be challenged. And as crazy as that is to say, because in some situations you may be like, well, how moral is it to say that this thing is challenging? Honestly, I don't know. But the thing is that everything can be challenged, and everything can be challenged not in a way which means it's morally correct, but in a way in which it broadens our perspective to be able to see a bunch of different perspectives and a lot of different sides to a situation or a thing or a conversation or a thought or idea or an opinion, to be able to critique it and then form our own opinion on the sort. You know what I mean? So it's like, when we're talking about the black and white space, and I say, I know that nothing is black and white. I think everything is like colors, you know? Like, okay, someone might be thinking in this blue area here, and then someone might be thinking in the orange area here, and then there's a purple, pink, green, yellow, brown, gray, white, whatever other colors there are in the world. And it's like, okay, many people can be thinking within this color, and then another person can be thinking within this color, and then I could be thinking within a little bit of blue, purple, and orange, you know? Like, everything is open, is what I mean. Everything is open for discussion. Everything is open. And when it comes to the censorship of the imagination, I say this as meaning a lot of things when it's pushed out to be, oh, black and white, that means that if you think this or believe in this, then that means you must be this. And if you think and believe in that, then you must be that, right? And so when it comes to the censorship of the imagination, pushing that propaganda of having to think in either this black or white idea leaves no space to be an independent thinker. Because how is it that there's going to be, let's use the example of conservative and liberal, and I'll use myself for an example. I do not agree with the views of the conservative side. I don't even know what's called a side with conservative views. But I also don't completely agree with all liberal views. Okay? And I agree with some things from the conservative views and with some things from the liberal views. Now, does that mean, if I say that, what do you think? Because I feel like the thing that people will go to is, so she's a good person, but she's also a bad person because she believes in the conservative or because she believes in liberal ideals, which is just not true. Believing in both, but also not believing in either, does not make somebody a certain type of way. Or you cannot strictly judge them and strictly base an opinion based on one thing. You know what I mean? Because that is the censorship of the imagination. That is not being a critical or independent thinker. Because if you heard me say, okay, well, I agree with some things from the liberal and from the conservative, but there are also some things that I don't believe in from the liberal and the conservative. So I don't think I'm either. Which is okay. I don't have to be either. I don't have to pick one specific side. I know what I stand for and what I don't stand for, and that's it. I have my set of morals, which is, okay, if I say I believe in things from, this is still an example, by the way, if I say I believe in things from the conservative side, that doesn't mean I'm automatically saying, oh, I agree with Trump. I agree with what ICE is doing. Fuck ICE. What the hell? That shit is evil as hell. Like, I don't believe in that. Absolutely not. I fight against that. But if I were to say I agree with some things talking about how I like the economy or business fucking part of it, right? Of some ideals or views, maybe as someone who owns their own business, I agree with some things from there that could benefit people with businesses, right? And then from the liberal side, I agree what they're saying about freedom and equality, about LGBTQ plus rights. I agree with that as well. I stand for that, you know? But it's like, because I believe in one thing and another thing from both sides, doesn't mean anything's black and white. You understand? So, let me use this example, okay? When you're having a conversation with someone that you don't agree with, and let's say you just met this guy, right? You're going on a date, and in the beginning of the date, you're walking and you guys are eating something, he just throws his trash on the ground. He's littering. There's a trash bin like 2 feet away, but he just threw his trash on the ground, and you peep that and you're like, oh, I don't like that. That guy's an asshole. Like, this guy that I'm with is an asshole. Like, he just littered on the ground. Right? So right now you're automatically just assuming he's an asshole. Well, I mean, this is just a piece of information that it hit you, and now you're like, this is how I feel towards him now. But then within the same day, you say you guys keep walking after he littered, and you guys are having good conversation, but you're still like, I still don't like that he littered, because like, why would you do that? I agree. Like, why would you do that? There's a trash bin right there. And there's a cat with its head stuck in a bag, and it's struggling to breathe. So he's automatically on the jump going, helping to save the cat. And then you guys take it to like a pet clinic. And he's like, oh my gosh, like, let's take it to the pet clinic. I'll pay for it. And I'm just glad the cat's okay, right? So now you're like, oh, well, he just saved this cat's life and then paid for it to get checked up and everything. So now you're like, okay, well, what the hell's going on? Because I just thought this guy was an asshole because he just littered. But now I think he's a great guy because he just saved this cat's life. So nothing can be strictly judged. And I'm not going to come over here and be like, don't judge anybody, because everyone judges everybody in some sort of facet and way. If you see someone in a coffee shop and this person walks in, they're dressed to the nines, hair done, nails done, outfit done, makeup done, everything done, high heels on, girl, like you just walked out of a fucking magazine. Even if you're not judging them in a negative connotation of like, oh, who do they think they are coming in here trying to look all better than everyone else? No, that is a form of judgment. But another form of judgment could just be seeing them and being like, oh, they must do something really important for work. That is also judging them based on your experience with said person, whether the experience was an experience you had for like 3 weeks or if you just saw them 2 seconds ago, you know? So I think being judgmental is when you judge someone else through judging yourself, which would be the example of someone being like, oh, who does she think she is? But judging is just coming to the conclusion about something based on your experience with the world and using that experience to judge something that you just saw. So you'd assume, oh, if someone's super dressed up, it's because they're important, right? That's judging. That's coming to the conclusion. And so going back to the censorship of the imagination, like when I said, if you're unable to be open-minded about everything, you're just blocking yourself off from that imagination part, which I think being open-minded is your imagination, because you're able to step into the shoes of another person and view something from their perspective, or at least try your best to understand how they're viewing something so that you can see what they're seeing and then come back to yourself and be like, okay, you know what, maybe I'll adjust my lens a little bit on this topic. Or you can even be like, okay, I understand what they're seeing, but this is just going to make me even more set in what I believe in. You know what I mean? So if you're having a conversation with someone about, for example, controversial Taylor Swift, okay? If you're having a conversation with someone and you're like, I absolutely hate Taylor Swift. I don't like how she's taking private jets to go somewhere that's 5 minutes away. And I don't like all this propaganda she pushes out or all of this, whatever. I don't like her music. Okay. You're looking through your little telescope and you're like, oh, no, Taylor Swift, don't like her. But then you're talking to someone who is obsessed with Taylor Swift. They love her so much. They just love everything about her. Her music, Taylor Swift can do no wrong, right? And you're just like, I don't understand like why you like Taylor Swift when all of these things she's done is bad. Like blah, 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 right? Very black and white. You either like her or you don't. And so you're having a conversation with this person. And I think a lot of the times when we have conversations with people on topics that we don't agree about, it's very quick and easy to start an argument. Because of course it's like you're at a war because you don't believe in the same thing. So you can't get along, right? Because how are we gonna get along if we don't like Taylor Swift, you know? But you listen to them and they explain to you and they're like, well, I love Taylor Swift so much because in a dark time in my life, I found one of her songs. I found one of her songs in a TikTok and I was listening to the lyrics and it completely got my situation down to a T and just it brought me so much hope and happiness and a relatability that just made me feel seen and heard. And then I listened to all of her other songs and they all make me feel that way and it got me out of a depressive state and whatnot. So obviously, if you are listening to that, you can understand what it feels like to feel alone, unseen, unheard, you know? You can understand what it feels like to be hopeful and feel related to and listened to. But then on the other hand, if you're listening to someone who's saying how much they hate Taylor Swift because because of how she used her private jet to fly 5 minutes away or whatever, and pollution. I'm just going to use the example pollution. And someone in your family died because of how polluted the air was and they were sick. So you don't support anything that would promote pollution. Matter of fact, you fight against it. You fight for the cause of the clean air in the environment. And for Taylor Swift to have done that just really hit you. So then the other person can understand what it feels like to feel anger and hurt and to feel like they're fighting for something, but it seems like the world's just fighting against them, right? Two completely different perspectives on one thing. And then there could be another person who's just like, oh yeah, I like Taylor Swift's old music. I don't like that she took that private jet, but I like her outfits, or I like whatever. I don't like some of the messages in her songs, but I like these songs. It's like, nothing has to be black and white. You don't have to hate Taylor Swift, and you don't have to completely love Taylor Swift. But I feel like that's obvious. It's super obvious when you say it, but then when you look into a lot of things in the world, it's not like that. A lot of things have to be black and white. And also, I was talking about this last night, which was how people get easily affected and easily take things really personally when things are spoken about a certain community. Like this. If I were to come on here and I were to say, all men are dogs, all men think they're better than women, all men just want to use women for one thing, men don't even really like women, men suck, right? All men suck. There are going to be men who come on here and obviously are going to be offended by what I'm saying. This is just an example. I don't think that, okay? Please don't take it personal. Just an example. But there are going to be men who do respect women. There are going to be men who aren't dogs, who truly, genuinely love women and respect women, who are also going to be offended, even though the statement that I said has nothing to do with them. And then it's like, okay, so then why are you getting offended if it has nothing to do with you? And the reason that one would get offended by that is because it's very easy and very common in our world to define yourself by the communities that you fit within, right? Now, we are a part of our community, but we are not the community. I mean, we are the community, but we don't have to be completely like, we can be in the community, but we can be our own individuals within the community. You understand what I mean? But if you don't, okay, wait, let me find out how to word this. It's easy to define yourself based on the communities or categories or groups that you're in, because that's how we connect socially. You're like, oh yeah, I'm a student. Oh yeah, I'm a woman. Oh, I'm this sexuality, or I'm this and I'm that, and I'm whimsy, or I'm an artist. I love, like that's how we connect socially. So then that's how we label ourselves. You know what I mean? Even when some statements about the generalization or general statements about said community or group don't apply to everyone within it, which would then mean you're not that, but you're a part of it, Does that make sense? Let me know if that makes sense, okay? But the same example for women. I identify as a woman because I am a woman, and I don't know, I'm just a woman, and I would associate myself within the community of women. So if anybody were to come on here and be like, oh, women are just gold diggers, women just want to use men for their money, women never want to work, they just want men to pay for all their stuff and whatnot, and I'm like, wait a second, I actually don't just want to use men for their money. I don't think that way, and maybe there are some women who do think that way. Okay, whatever, that is none of my business, okay? The thing is that I could come on here and be like, okay, well, I don't think like that, so why would you even say that about women? In the person who said its situation, now this is not me saying that women are gold diggers, okay? Stay with me now, stay with me. In this person's situation, they could be in an environment or just be in situations where that is their reality, where they are around a lot of women who are gold diggers. Okay, what was that? Anyway, they could be around a lot of women who are gold diggers, or around a lot of women who do just want to use men for their money. And then there could be someone in a totally different situation who are never around women like that. But the thing is that you cannot just from the jump judge, because some things may be true for some people's situations, but they don't have to be true for yours. And also, I think we've forgotten that we do not have the right to change the opinion of another person. Now, as far as difficult as that may be to grasp and hold, it's true. I can't come on here and tell you, oh, you know what? You have to love the idea of being a business owner, or you have to buy from small businesses because big corporations just want to take your money and they're bad for the environment. So stop buying from big businesses. You only have to buy from small. I can't come on here and make you do that and force you to believe what I believe. That's just not how the world works. It's not. And as unfortunate as that is, it's true. You cannot try and force someone else to change their opinion on something, but you can share your perspective. You can share your opinions, you can share your perspective, and others can share their opinions and share their perspectives, and all the while, you don't have to take it personal. You can, I know that when we hear that, it's sort of like when someone, if we're talking about someone who's racist, and they're just completely hating on people of color, and you're a person of color, yeah, you're gonna take it personal because you're literally like hate speeching me in front of my face right now. I understand that. And some people are just shit morally. But at the same time, like, even if it's the right thing to do, to be like, you genuinely cannot say these things, they can't, they literally shouldn't and they couldn't. They shouldn't and they can't. But what do you do? What are you supposed to do? You can beat them up. I mean, hey, you can beat them up. But at the end of the day, they're still going to believe what they're going to believe. So all you can do is share your opinion. And if they have that open-minded imagination, they will be able to see through your lens and your perspective and adjust theirs. Okay, that was crazy to just do. This was a telescope, okay? Stop playing with me. Anyway, I hope that made sense. I hope it doesn't sound like I'm trying to defend anything. I'm not. But I do believe that people are entitled to their own opinions about everything, even if their morals don't match up with my morals. And it makes me think, you're a shit person. Because, one more example, if I'm having a conversation with an old man, okay? And we're having a conversation about animals, and he's carrying around this little kitten with him, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so cute. And he's talking about how he loves animals, how he has a whole animal sanctuary where he takes in stray animals and cares for them, right? And I'm like, that is so awesome. And he's sharing with me advice about like how to keep your cats safe, how to keep them whatever. And I'm like, thank you, that is such great information I didn't know. But then in the same conversation, he mentions he's a Trump supporter and supports what ICE is doing. Now I'm like, what the freak, dude? What the freak? Because I wanted to like you, but now I don't like you, but I still am thankful for the information you shared about the cats, but also I completely disagree with what you said about this area and topic with Trump and ICE. You know? That's where your imagination, open-mindedness has to come in, because you don't have to completely like somebody. You don't have to completely hate somebody. Because you can take pieces of information from different topics that could be useful to you. So if I'm talking to the man who's the Trump supporter who supports ICE, but also is so good with cats and loves animals, I can have a conversation with this person and see the information that is useful to me, which is not his ideas and his morals about Trump and ICE, but is about the cats. And I can take that information that is useful to me and be grateful for it. But I can also at the same time completely reject what he is saying about Trump and ICE. You know? So, like Bell Hooks said, there can be things that are useful to you in a completely different category when speaking to people or watching a piece of media or something that you can take from it before completely saying, oh, I love it so much, or before completely saying, oh, I hate this so much. You know, that's what being a critical thinker is. It's being able to break down something given to you, whether it's an idea, a conversation, an opinion, something you see, media, and being able to dissect it, see what's useful, understand what's not useful, and then be able to form your own opinions on it. So yeah, that's just what I wanted to come on here and share. I hope I said this in a way that you can understand. Anyways, I really enjoyed that interview with Bell Hooks. I hope this made sense, and I hope maybe it helps you think a little bit, or if you completely disagree with me, let me know in the comments. Let's talk.